Hello, everyone, and welcome back. As always, I'm Candy Washington, the host of the Soft Life podcast. And before we dive into today's episode, which is the secret to getting and keeping your SP, before we dive in, because I'm going to tell you probably the number one thing that is, sort of hindering you from where you want to be in your relationship to where you are. But before we dive in, if you need additional support, definitely get our free self-love guide. It's linked down below. We have courses, we have our Patreon community, we have some really cool merch. So go ahead, subscribe, like, and share, and check out all of the additional support that we have for you down below. So with that, let's dive in. So if you kind of feel like you have been doing everything in manifestation to get your specific person, but nothing is working, then I think we really have to evaluate the story that you're telling yourself about your specific person, who they are, and B, who your specific person is in relationship to you, how they show up for you in your actual relationship. Because if you're holding on to the past story, or if you're just, regurgitating negative stories about a specific person, then it doesn't matter how many techniques you can do. You can affirm all day, you can script your hands off, you can visualize, to the moon and back. But if when you are done doing your techniques in your mind, in your actual beingness, in your consciousness, you are still making this person a liar, a cheater, no good, someone who ghosts you, somebody who disrespects you, someone who's not there for you, you knew this is how they always are, then that person has no choice but to show up for you how you are creating them to be. Because remember, nothing about manifestation is down to perfection. It's always about dominance. And what I mean by that is, it's not that you are thinking perfectly at all times about your person, whether it's negative or positive, that will manifest. It's how are you dominantly, or most often, or in the strongest way, thinking and believing your specific person is, and thinking and believing how your specific person shows up for you. Now, I really like Neville Goddard. I mean, we all know Neville Goddard in the Law of Assumption, and he talks about the concept of everyone is you pushed out. Now, the way that I understand everyone is you pushed out is this. Well, first, let me tell you what it's not, and then I'll tell you what I think it is, according to Neville Goddard and how I interpret it. So sometimes I hear people saying, everyone is you pushed out means, well, if you love yourself and if you respect yourself, then everyone will love and respect you. Well, that's not true. I think we can all be, honest that that's actually not true. I'll get back to that a little bit later in the episode, but I want to finish up on this SP first. So if that was the case, then everyone in your world would treat you exactly the same, because how you feel about you is how you feel about you. So the mailman, your mother, your SP, your teacher, your coworker, a stranger at Walmart, everybody would treat you exactly the same. And as we all know, that's not how life works. You have different relationships with different people, and people treat you differently. Now, this is what I believe everyone is you pushed out actually means. Everyone is you pushed out is how you expect a specific person, and by specific person, I don't mean necessarily your ex or the person you want to be in a relationship with. I just mean an actual specific person. How you think an individual person is going to treat you or show up for you is how they treat you and show up for you. That's why you have different types of relationships with different people. That's why you get along with certain people and you don't get along with certain people. That's why some people are for you and some people aren't for you, right? People treat you the way you expect them to treat you. So say you have a negative self-concept about, and this also works with like the majority of people, right? If you say, well, you know what, only broke guys like me, well, then only broke guys are going to like you. Do you see what I'm saying? Like that's what it is. Or if you say like, my sister is always mean to me, my sister's always really mean to me, then she's going to show up being mean to you. But it doesn't mean that your best friend is going to show up being mean to you, because you have the expectation, you have the assumption that your best friend is going to show up for you in a best friend way, where you have the assumption or the belief that this other person is going to show up for you in a negative way. So it happens with, the majority of, you can do like a group association, like, no, there's no good men out there type of situation, then that's not what's going to show up for you. So the way that we tie this back to getting your specific person, as in, i.e., the person you want to romantically be with, to show up different for you, is to know that that person specifically is you pushed, excuse me, is you pushed out. What that means is, whatever story you are telling yourself about how that person shows up for you is how they are going to show up for you. Again, Neville Goddard says, there is no one to change but self. So if you keep telling the same story of, my specific person only wants sex, my specific person doesn't want to commit to me, my specific person is in love with somebody else, I'm not good enough for my specific person, blah, my specific person is not choosing me, and just replaying all of the negative and the negative and then the negative, then your specific person has no choice but to show up for you in the role that you wrote for them. So if you want your specific person to show up differently, because everyone is you pushed out, you have to rewrite the story in a dominant way, not perfect, because we all sometimes think about, I can't believe he did that to me. Oh, like, I can't believe that happened. Like, we all have that sometimes. So it's not about being perfect or all of the time. But when you can get to the place where you dominantly tell yourself the story that your SP loves you, chooses you, honors you, respects you, makes you happy, loves you, cherishes you, is faithful to you. The past is the past, let it go. The more and more and more you live dominantly in the new story of who your SP is, but then also who is your SP in relationship to you, the quicker and the faster that version of SP can show up for you. So you can sit there and visualize for an hour, but if the rest of the 23 hours of the day, you're just replaying negativity and telling a negative story, and then you wonder why you're getting hot and cold behavior, or they're still ghosting you, or they're not coming back, well, that's why. You have to think about, what is the dominant story of the person, about the person that I'm telling myself, because that is the story that will be pushed out and reflected back to you. We can use two techniques, two law of assumption techniques to remedy to this. I remember, because now we know about everyone is you pushed out. So that's the one technique. And then I like to do this. If you're struggling with like, but he cheated, but she left me, but this happened. If you're struggling with that, I think you can either do this journaling exercise as often as you need to, or just speak it out, just either talk it out or speak it out, whatever it is that resonates with you. But I like to use, I remember when, ... but thank God now, or thank goodness now, or isn't it wonderful now? So I'm combining two of the law of assumption techniques, the I remember when and isn't it wonderful. So you can say, isn't it wonderful, or thank goodness, or isn't it amazing? Whatever you want to say, okay? Now let me show you specifically how I use this. So say I have a specific person that was very hot and cold. They would be really hot one minute, then they would disappear and ghost. Then they would pop back in and then disappear and ghost. This is how you can use both of those to rewrite the story of your specific person. You could say, I remember when my specific person was so hot and cold with me. But isn't it wonderful that we're in such a loving and committed and consistent relationship? I feel so secure in our relationship. You see what I did there? I combined I remember when, which is saying it is no longer now. And it's a way for me not to feel like I'm being delusional or I'm lying to myself or I'm letting this person off the hook for all the mean things they did to me, wah, 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 which was just that person reflecting you to you. But whatever, is I remember when. So you're not denying those incessant thoughts of what happened, but you're saying that's in the past. That is just old story. I remember when SP was so hot and cold with me. But isn't it wonderful that now he is so consistent and he is so reliable and I feel so secure in our relationship? Now you are affirming the new story as if it was present moment, AKA living in the end result. Because the end result of what you want is that your SP is reliable, faithful, dependable. You're in a secure and happy relationship. So you're combining letting go of old story with living in the end and affirming what you actually want to manifest. So this is a very powerful way to rewrite the story of SP and to let go of the past story and to live in the end of the relationship that you want to actually have. I remember when SP had a third party, but isn't it wonderful that he is 100% committed to me in our relationship? Isn't it wonderful that he always prioritizes me in our relationship? Isn't it amazing how we are so committed to each other and we're all in and he is so trustworthy, right? So do that exercise, do that technique, do those tools. If you're having trouble of letting go of the old story of SP, this is a great way to rewrite it. I remember when, but isn't it wonderful? Isn't it amazing now that? So try that. And then I want you to come back and I want you to let me know, comment down below how that worked for you. How did it feel for you to be able to rewrite the story and to let go of the past story? Because ideally, you would do that enough to then get to the point where it's just, isn't it wonderful that? Isn't it wonderful that? Because it's going to just feel better to live in the end of being and getting and having what it is that you actually want. So use those two techniques to rewrite the story of SP. That's how you're going to get them, and that's how you're going to keep them. Because what causes hot and cold behavior, coming in and leaving, that whole cycle, is you not dominantly telling the story of how you want SP to be. You know, it's 1 second, they're wonderful. The next, oh, but remember when they did this? Not I remember when in that way, but like going off on a tangent, right? That's what brings in the hot and cold behavior because you're not dominantly living in the place of who this person now is for you. And again, it's not about being perfect. It's about where do you live the majority of the time? Where are your thoughts? What's the story the majority of the time? So put it down below and let me know what you guys think about combining those two things. So with that, be sure to subscribe, like, and share. We have a free self-love guide down below. We have a ton of courses. We have a Patreon community and also shop our merch. So with that, you guys, I love you and I will talk to you next time. Bye. Ready to unlock your true potential and manifest the life of your dreams? Then I've got something super special just for you. Our mind-blowing self-love and manifestation courses. Picture this, a journey of self-discovery where you'll find a deep well of self-love and acceptance. Say goodbye to self-doubt and hello to unshakable confidence. Our courses are designed to help you embrace your worthiness and tap into the incredible power of self-love. But that's not all. We'll also dive deep into the transformative world of manifestation. You'll learn proven tools and techniques and strategies to align your thoughts, beliefs, and actions with your wildest dreams. So get ready to create the success, happiness, love, and abundance that you deserve. So what are you waiting for? Head over to candywashington.com/courses to get started. Again, that's candywashington.com/courses.